Okay, Brendan. So let me recap, right? Let me pick up everything that you just put down. You asked about, hey, we're always going after these goals and we're living for the next party, celebration,
Yep.
whatever the case may
Yep.
be. And that's like, hey, we're grinding Monday through Friday, and then the weekends we maybe blow it, right? Also with our nutrition
Yeah.
or our
You know,
training.
even after we did the Spartan race, I kind of sat there and thought about it, and we were all like going to do the big buffet, and after going for the second, third plate, I'm like, why am I doing this? What am I getting out of this?
Yeah,
I
yeah,
saw you went to pineapple, and that was good, but
yeah.
I actually watched that at that time because it was like, well, he's going to fruit, and I'm kind of like,
Mhm.
well, why are we smashing this next plate? This, leading up to it, both places that we went the night before and the night there, you could do the chicken instead of the burger, and that's kind of what I was doing. And I was just drinking water. I didn't have a drink, I mean, it was just, and I was cool with it. It was celebrating. I was having a good time, but it wasn't like I really needed this big reward. And then we did the race, and then we all went to the buffet, and we just smashed. But I don't think I needed that.
Yeah. So listen, we're going to go on so many different avenues, right? So try to pay attention and stay with me, okay?
Okay.
Because I don't want somebody listening from the outside in and being like, oh man, that's a strict program. Like, I don't want to do that. I have to eat nothing but like chicken breasts and salads all day. And on the other side, I don't want somebody also having the all in, all out mentality because Brian Malcolm, you know that does not work, right? So we're going to start off with this. It's great to have goals. It's
Yeah.
horrible to have expectations. And I'll talk about that, right? But before I do, we got to focus on one word, man, that saves the day. Grace.
Yeah.
Okay. If you're trying to be perfect, you will fail. Okay. And the simple reason is because no one's perfect, man. Even like the guys that's taking anabolic steroids, 3% body fat, shredded all year round, like they still fall off every now and then, right? It just happens. Like that's just human nature in all of us. Okay. Now, let's first talk about goals before we talk about expectations. Okay. The best thing to do is to give yourself goals because it's something to move forward to. If you didn't have goals, right? Anybody, if they didn't have goals, they would not have signed up for this coaching program. Everybody's here today because there's a goal that you guys want to achieve within your health and fitness journey. And it's good to achieve those goals and give yourself more goals and more goals and more goals, right? Because life, you got to look at it like a video game. And like sometimes when you progress in this video game of life, it becomes harder, right? New levels equal new devils. Like the first time you rode a bike, it was hard. You probably fell down. Fast forward 5 years, you can ride a bike effortlessly. It's
Yeah.
just how life is, right? So we got to keep that with our mindset. So when it comes down to our goals, once again, it's great to give ourselves goals. Problem is that most guys, they put their goals on a pedestal. They make it the end all be all. I have to reach this goal by this amount of dates, and I have to look this way, and I have to feel this way. And anytime they fall off track, or they slip, or they drink, or they overindulge, when that goal is on a pedestal, they forget about that word that we talked about, which is grace. And then they get super discouraged. And then it goes back to the James Clear quote from Atomic Habits, which is, a mistake, or excuse me, a habit missed once is mistake, but a habit missed twice is a form of a new habit,
Yeah.
right? So it's like we let that one bad day turn into two, and then two turns into three, and then three turns into four. And quick show of hands, guys, has that ever happened to you? Where you fall off track for a day and then it turns into two and three and four and then a week and then a month, etc. And like the only glue to actually help somebody to actually overcome that is always going to be accountability. It's not the meal plans, it's not the workouts, it's not the guidance. It's always accountability, right? Whether that's community, whether that's the weekly check-ins, whether that's the support chat, whatever the case may be. So we got to understand that, okay? That hey, we have these goals and like nobody's perfect, right? Michael Jordan didn't make every single shot, he missed those shots, but it's how we pick ourselves back up. It's the story that we tell ourselves at the end of the day that matters the most. Somebody can tell themselves like, oh man, like I always try and try and try and fail and fail and fail. That's the story that they tell themselves. A better story would be, hey, I always try and I always pick myself back up and I continue to progress, even if it's just 1%. That's a way better story because what your story is that you're telling yourself, your thoughts, that's going to shift your identity. That's going to be your new belief system.
Right.
So now that we know that, let's go to the expectations here. It's like, hey, we want to reach this goal, but let's not give ourselves these expectations. Expectations is the number one reason why most people fail and get discouraged. They fall off track and they start to slump and go back into their old ways, right? I'm expecting to lose X amount of weight this week because I did X, Y, Z. Wrong mindset to have.
Yeah.
Like nobody can predict the future. Nobody can guess that. So why would we want to take full ownership of that? Because then we look like we're a failure. We feel like a failure because we're expecting this to happen. But once again, it's kind of outside of our hands. And like, that's my life in general. There's so many times where I'm expecting something, right? Like when I was on TV, hey, I'm expecting to win all this money. I'm expecting to win this. I'm expecting to do all this stuff, right? And I got eliminated from the competition the very first week. I was not expecting that. And so what I do, I got depressed, right? I got into my mental funk, right?
Yeah.
I got into my mental, emotional state, right? And I had to go through therapy and get out of that and vent and talk to people, right? But you learn this process. It's like, okay, every time that I'm going through a challenge, every time that I'm going through a storm and I have to try to overcome it, it's like, okay, I'm learning something about myself. Because now, fast forward, when I gave myself a different expectation, I immediately stopped right in its tracks. We're not going to do that, right? Whatever happens on this particular day, so be it. And that's exactly what I did, right? And so it's like the next time that something happened that didn't go my way, I wasn't butthurt about it because I immediately stopped myself in my tracks, saying like, hey, we're not going to give ourselves these expectations, right? So I don't get hurt. Now we can utilize that same analogy with, let's say, drinking alcohol, right? Let's say you're constantly drinking, having a cold one, right? Or going to the bars on the weekends. That's going to lead you down this path, right, of temptation. So it's like, okay, hey, why don't we just not go to the bar, right? No expectations, bad things don't happen. We're good. Same thing with, let's just say, with Jason talking about binge eating on the weekends, right? It's like, hey, we can make sure that we're doing the right protocols. We're staying busy. We're eating protein, right? Like all these things to keep them occupied. And I put on a consistency habit for Jason on the weekends now, track and log your food, right? Focus on your goals, not on the cravings. Did you see that, Jason? Cool. So
No,
it's
I
like,
haven't seen that yet, but I'll check it out.
okay, but it shifts your focus, right? It's one of those things that stops it in its tracks, So like, to answer your question, it's a long story short, but it's a great question to ask because it's all about the mindset. And I'll recap it right here. Don't aim for progression. Don't aim for perfection. Always aim for progression. It's great to give yourself goals, right? Like I have huge goals. Like I just gave myself a goal literally 2 days ago, right? Where I'm like, hey, before I turn 40 years old, I want to climb up Mount Kilimanjaro, right? That's a huge goal. I want to do it, right? And I'm not going to give myself expectations like, oh, I'm going to do it by this time frame or this is going to happen. And, if we're climbing the very top and I get the altitude sickness and whatever, hey, it doesn't matter. I'm giving myself my goal. Whether I accomplish it or not, I'm at least going to work towards that goal. And let's say I'm 38 years, right? Fast forward 5 years, I'm 38 and I'm trying to climb up and hike up that mountain and I get altitude sickness, right? And I can't make it to the very top. I don't see the summit. It's like, all right, cool, right? Like, at least I tried.
Right.
The reality is like most people won't even try. They won't even step up to the plate. So if you just keep that in mind that, hey, have these goals, that's perfectly fine. It makes life fun, makes life exciting. So we're not just sedentary and just sitting around all day. Treat life like a video game and be your own hero. Make it fun, make it exciting because your family's seeing it, your kids are seeing it, we're all seeing it. And that's what makes it great. Like Jason starting his YouTube channel. I love that, right? Like that hypes me up probably more than it hypes him up. Because it's like, man, like just knowing that somebody is going for their passion, right? It makes it fun. So it's like, give yourself those goals, but don't give yourself these expectations of, man, like I need to reach this goal by this time, or I need to have success, or I need this to happen. Because a lot of that is outside of our control. But what we can control, and this is what you talked about before I hit the record button, is living in the present moment.
Yeah.
Even in the Bible, I forget which verse it is, but it says, worry about today because tomorrow, right, there's enough problems and there's enough things to worry about. So just focus on today.
Yeah.
So it's like, hey, what can we do to have this? What I like to say is this personal development satisfaction, right? where it's like we're feeling good about it. Focus on what is the things that you do today that's going to make you be better. Not 10%, not 20%, not 50%, just 1% better. And whether that's you tracking your food, whether that's you getting more steps in, whether that's you drinking more water, hitting your protein, do something that makes you can look back at the end of the day, you're staring yourself in the mirror and say, man, I'm really proud of myself today for showing up. And then tomorrow, give yourself a little bit of a goal that's better than it was today. That's it. So for example, like it's called making a commitment. It's actually one of my habits, right? It's called gratitude and goals. I write
Yeah,
down
I've seen that on your
I write down my
training today.
gratitude list, and then I write
Yep.
down what is my goals for today. And I hold myself accountable to achieving those goals because I know it's going to make me better, right? And that's it. Like that is the journey that you want to go on because it makes life simple, you know? And
Yeah.
it just goes back to all this where it's like even on that journey, being simple and being consistent, life's going to throw curveballs,
Yep.
right? You know, plenty of storms are going to come your way. Go back to grace. That's going to be your foundation. That's always going to lift you up and help you, right? And that's it, man. You know, life's too short to sweat over the small stuff. You know, and in fact, most of our problems that we kind of worry about and stress about today, in fact, 5 years from now, we're probably not even going to be worried about them anymore.
No.
You know? So how can we just take it day by day, be better, so we can do better, and in the midst of doing better, we can inspire others and help them be better as well. You know?
Absolutely.
So feedback or follow-up questions from that.
Yeah, I think that's kind of what I was getting at is, I need to look at today more and say, okay, today's training was fun. Today's choices were great. Um, you know, why am I so always planning these trips and all these things? And that's what I'm trying to live life for is what the next celebration is instead of just by doing things right and the way that I feel about it was awesome.
Yeah. I mean, but also like when you mean like planning these trips and planning these celebrations, are you talking about like alcohol consumption?
No, no.
Okay.
So, taking the family on a trip or whatever it is, it's like I'm looking so forward to that, I'm not acknowledging today at all, other than,
Mhm.
what's coming on to me in my business with employees and, what I got to do with the kid and whatever else. Um, I'm not finding the gratitude in today.
Yeah, yeah. That's deep, and I'm glad that you brought that up, you know? So I would encourage you and challenge, make that your goal.
Yeah.
Right? Literally make that your goal. Like you can literally, and we can talk about this more on our mindset call on Friday, but you can
Yep.
literally close your eyes, take a deep breath, right? And I forget the quote. Let me think about it real quick. It was like, I've always had enough. I always will have enough. And there's another one that it's just a simple three sentence that you say. I'll find it. I'll share that more on our mindset call. But that's helped me where it's like, hey, if I'm getting ready to speak, or if I'm getting ready to do something, or I'm getting ready to go on a coaching call, you're just reminding yourself, right? There's a small little affirmation, but it helps you stay grounded. It helps you get in the present moment because now you can go into those meetings with your coworkers. You can go into the work day. You can go home and spend time with your family with a different mindset rather than focusing on the next thing, the next thing, the next thing. Because you're absolutely right. And I think that's probably most people's problems out there is they're focused on tomorrow. They're focused on next week. They're focusing on next month. They're
Yep.
forgetting about the present moment. And like anytime you're focusing on the future, what also comes with that? Anxiety,
Yep.
right? Like, let's face it, right? Anxiety because something, hey, we want this to happen, or this next trip, or whatever the case may be. And the next thing you know, it's like, hey, we're planning for this trip. Well, let's say something happens where we can't get those plane tickets, or your kid gets sick, or something like that.
Yep.
Hey, we already put in the future this trip. These, curveballs through our way. We had these expectations. They don't go our way. Now we're in this mental funk again. See how it's like this vicious cycle?
Exactly.
You can literally just be a little Muhammad Gandhi, right? And just focus on being in the present moment each and every day. And it's hard to do.
Yeah.
It is hard to do. I'm not gonna lie, right?
But it makes everything else so much easier.
Yeah, it does. But I think for you, right, like maybe, mimic off what I've been doing with the gratitude and goals consistency, where it's like, hey, you write down the things that you're grateful for, you start off your day with that. And then all I write down is 3 to 5 things with my goals for that day. And that's it. Like, I know we all post the daily wins report inside the community group, but I'm taking like my time to actually focus on that, write out my goals, right? Each and every morning. And then all I do is just close my binder, my gratitude binder, close my eyes, visualize 5 minutes, like me doing my workout, or me tracking my macros, or me looking in the mirror feeling proud of myself at the end of the day, or me, going for a 5K run, right? Whatever it is, like you're just spending a small few seconds just visualizing yourself doing that, right? Because now it's getting your RAS, your reticular activating system, and the gratitude, like that just helps out because that keeps you into that present moment even more so,
I like it.
Cool. That was good. Who has any questions about that? Follow up at all? Brian, you look like you're about to say something.
No, I like it puts things in perspective, like as far as like what's really important versus what's not, like, focusing on the most important things in your life versus what you don't have. Like I guess it's more like the gratitude stuff. It really, that's something that I think we all struggle with. I try to do my best to focus on like what I have versus what I could have or don't have, you know what I mean? Like, because it's real easy to get in that trap of like, oh man, don't get me wrong, I want everybody to have goals and to reach for the stars, but if you don't end up getting those goals, it doesn't mean that you're a failure, right? Like you still have family, you still have everything that you need right in front of you. And like, it just kind of puts things in perspective of what's really important in your life. Because at the end of the day, like when we all die, we can't take any of this stuff with us, like
No.
possessions and all that crap. So I get it though, Brendan, where you're coming from. Like I look forward to the parties and all that. And I like look forward to having a beer and a brat at a baseball game. So I
Sure.
think you're in a good spot now. I just kind of want to remind you, like, we all have moments we're not proud of, but it's good that you recognize it before it becomes like maybe a problem down the road. But try not to beat yourself up because I think you're in this mode now where you're kind of beating yourself up about what happened. And that might take several months to get out of your system. But just remember it was a mistake. The good thing is like you didn't die from it. Nobody got hurt. Like you're able to move on
Right.
from it,
Yeah, somebody
man.
else had a bigger idea of what the whole picture was and
Exactly.
stopped.
So I'll say this, Brian, that was spot on, brother. Thank you for saying that too, because
Yeah.
you got me on another thing that I want to talk about, and that's good for everybody, Jody, including you, because we had a pretty heart-to-heart conversation before, Brendan. I want you guys to think about this, right? Steve Jobs has an amazing quote. You can't connect the dots looking forward in life, but you can always connect the dots looking backwards in life. Okay. You guys know my struggle with mental health. I tried killing myself when I was 22, and I also had a gun to my head last year before I turned 32 years old, right? And like those are one of those things that people never want to admit. They make them feel vulnerable, they make them feel insecure, they make them feel embarrassed, shameful. But like Brennan, with you with the alcohol and me with like the suicidal thoughts and the mental health and the depression, like I use my weakness to become my new strength. You don't know how many times people have asked me to come speak at this or talk to them about this, or they'll like literally people outside of Heartletics will literally just set up a call with me just to talk, right? And with everything I'm doing right now with Friends of Recovery, helping out with the journeyman meetings and like speaking at those events. And it's all because I said, hey guys, I got some flaws. But I
Right.
use those flaws now as like my superpower, right? And what that does is like that helps other people open up their skeletons, right? And shine that light to help them through the hard times. So I want you to just think about this, right? And once again, going back to that Steve Jobs quote, you cannot connect the dots looking forward in life, but you can always connect the dots looking backwards. Let's role play, right? How old are you, Brendan?
How old am I? I forget. 45.
45. All right, perfect. And how old are your kids?
21 and 11. Well, we'll be 11 next month.
We're going to use the 11-year-old. What's his name?
Declan.
Declan. Perfect. All right. Let's fast forward 15 years. Okay. And obviously at that time, he's old enough to drink, right? Over the
Yep.
legal age. But let's just say he starts going down a slippery slope and like alcohol becomes his vice, right? And that becomes his addiction. And he gets super like living for the weekends, sneaking, his drinks, all that stuff. Now he's having a hard time finding a job, like just living out of a bottle.
Yeah.
But let's just say, like this journey that you're in right now, where you learn how to just focus on you learn how to be better, you learn how to overcome your vices and your addictions, right? And these struggles in life, where now that weakness becomes your power. Because now, fast forward to where Declan, right, is, you know, an alcoholic, you
Right.
can then use your weakness at this stage right now in your life as a power to then help your son.
Yeah.
And like that's how I view the suicidal thoughts, where it's like, oh man, like what if my son gets a really bad concussion and he's all squirrely with his emotions like how I am? Well,
Yeah.
instead of me just saying, hey, go talk to a therapist, I want to be my son's therapist. I want to help my son through that struggle. But like
Ab-
I would now be thanking God for the suicidal thoughts and the depression because I can actually use that to help out my son now rather than somebody else. It's all about the story that you tell yourself. So flip the switch, right? Jody, same thing with you. Flip the switch. Jeff, Drew, Dennis, flip the switch. We're all going through something, right? Like everybody deals with struggles in life. Dennis, you got plenty of them right now on your plate. Flip the switch, right? How can we utilize that struggle that we're in right now to actually empower us and help us, but more so, make us the heroes to help out other people, right? It's like it's that journey's it's that hero's journey. You have to go through the struggles, right? Every superhero you see, like they go through the hardships, but they come back stronger. And like whatever it is that you guys are facing right now in your life with your adversity and your struggles, it's only redefining you. It's only forging you, making you come out better on the other side of it. So that way you can actually utilize that to help out somebody else. So, Brennan, that would be the last thing I want to encourage you with is like, thank God for what happened in Nashville. Thank
Yeah.
God for the struggles and for all this. Because if that never happened, you would have been constantly living in that cycle over and over again and over and over again, over and over again, and not realizing here, man, I got to make a change.
Yeah.
And today's that day. This week is that week, right? This month is that month where things are starting to work now in your favor because of that struggle. It's now actually a blessing in disguise.
Absolutely.